freedom of speech has been one of America's constitutional backbones since its inception in December of 1791. It states, buckle up for some old legal jargon, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. In fewer words, and more specifically, citizens have the right to express their opinions on anything without legal repercussions. Thinking about it as a whole, it makes sense. People deserve to have an opinion, to speak freely, to express themselves. That's part of what makes freedom, freedom. However, free speech within the US is not absolute. There are limits. Within the restrictions of free speech today, there are 4 main categories or types: hate speech, obscenity, misinformation, and harassment. These are the things that most social media platforms are looking for when it comes to what is allowed to be posted. It might be somewhat obvious, but let's explain exactly what each one of these incorporates. Hate speech is any speech that offends or attacks people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, religion, gender, sexual orientation, disability, disease, or other traits. It covers a lot of bases. Obscenity, though it is difficult to actually define, refers to content that strongly offends the prevalent morality of the time. Basically, anything extremely graphic that doesn't serve any sort of beneficial purpose. Nudity, for example, isn't considered obscene as long as it's for some sort of beneficial purpose or holds value in an artistic or scientific way. Misinformation, or fraud, is false or inaccurate information that can lead the public to believe something that isn't factually correct. Additionally, this also includes defamation, which is making false public statements about someone or something that can lead to a damaged reputation. Lastly, harassment is any sort of unwanted behavior by one person that makes another feel uncomfortable, humiliated, or degraded, also known as bullying, or in this case, cyberbullying. Despite these restrictions, there are still a lot of not so nice things people can freely say without any sort of backlash. As the saying goes, there is no light without darkness.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So, when it comes to social media, does free speech actually exist? Welcome to this week's Media Moment. The short answer to that question is no. The First Amendment's reference to abridging the freedom of speech applies only to the government. At least, that's what it was created for. Social platforms, on the other hand, are private companies. This means they are free to restrict or let fly whatever they want. However, there are societal impacts to certain decisions these companies make and can eventually succumb to public pressure. Let's take a look at how the largest of these platforms operates when it comes to the First Amendment. If you haven't already guessed, we're going to be talking about Facebook. So, how does Facebook feel about these types of speech on its platform? For just over the first decade of its existence, CEO Mark Zuckerberg stated multiple times that Facebook is a platform, not a publisher. His reasoning behind this was based on the overall responsibilities that are held by publishers, which are to ensure that what is being presented is factual and would put all responsibility for any potential consequences of said content on them. However, identifying Facebook as a platform releases all responsibility from him, as he is not the one producing the content, but merely the one who provides the space for the content to live. He's the landlord, not the tenant. Things have changed in the last decade, however, and after much criticism in the past over things that have been posted to the platform and the result of several congressional hearings, Facebook is now known for its rigorous censorship policies, almost to a fault. As of January 2021, Facebook's user base sits at 2,740,000,000. That's a massive amount of people all sharing ideas, opinions, and beliefs in one place. With that many people utilizing the platform, you can pretty much guarantee finding content that crosses a line for someone in one way or another. Where the First Amendment draws the line is very different to where Facebook draws theirs. Let's take a look at some examples. Back in 2016, a Norwegian author shared a collection of photos that showcased the tragedies of the Vietnam War. Within these photos was one of several children fleeing a village that had been hit with a napalm strike. One of the children, a young girl, was naked in the photo. Facebook proceeded to remove the photo, originally saying that the nudity was a violation to community standards. However, this led to thousands of other users on the platform who caught wind of the story, thanks to a Norwegian newspaper, to post the photo on their own account in an attempt to prove the point that the photo is an important piece of history. It took only hours after this for Facebook to make a statement claiming that despite the nudity and potential of the photo being considered child pornography, they had recognized the overall value of, quote, documenting a particular moment in time and unbanned the post. In this first example, Facebook's intentions here are pretty clear. They wanted to remove the potential of possible obscenity that could have tainted their reputation, and without the large amount of public outrage over their decision, there's a good chance this photo would have remained banned. The second example happened just last year. In early 2020, when the coronavirus first struck the world, a lot of varying information regarding causes, preventative measures, and potential cures began to spread across the platform like wildfire. People were citing several different causes, including 5G cell towers, or stating the virus was created intentionally to hurt people. As far as ways to prevent getting the virus, there were false articles claiming drinking or rubbing bleach on your body could keep you safe. It was later discovered that these outrageous posts filled with false information were everywhere, forcing Facebook to take action. Over the course of 8 months, from March to October of 2020, the platform deleted roughly 12 million posts that contained false information. Similar to the first example, it seems as though Facebook only took action as a result of outside pressure. During the early months of 2020, several businesses were also pulling out of their advertising schedules on Facebook due to the overwhelming amount of content relating to controversial or blatant hate speech topics like the denial of the Holocaust or even QAnon conspiracy theories. As a company, they likely realized their lack of action in moderating the type of content being put on their platform was leading to a lot of unwanted backlash from not only users, but their clients as well. So, coming back to our original question, does Facebook actually embody any of the First Amendment's characteristics regarding free speech? Again, the answer is no. Facebook is a company and does not have to submit to the First Amendment like the government does. Zuck may have had only the best intentions when he first launched the platform, but has come to realize that, as a business, pleasing the majority of your market is much more important than allowing senseless content to run free in an attempt to maintain the integrity of one of America's most important values.